Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Drinks and Dave. We had a little. Look, they only clap for like 2 minutes. What the heck's going on here?
I've been here, done that. The band is going
welcome to Drinks and Dave's, and I just want to let you know that Barber Dave is being brought to you by artificial intelligence. I'm not really here. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm tired. Tired.
You just got off the trails.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
who are those guys? Who the hell? Who were the trail people that came out west? Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, but they didn't have Jeeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I decided this is a trail that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I just got up this morning and I said, I'm going to go do it. Now, I broke the cardinal rule of off-roading completely. Number one, I did not take any other people with me. And number two, I was completely by myself.
Yeah. Good thing it's all highway miles.
No. The highway miles, it was about 30 to get to the trailhead, and it was about 20 miles on the trail with some, it's a pretty mellow trail, but pretty good, some waterfalls, some off-camber stuff. It reminded me, only Joe's going to know this, but it reminded me a lot of MT-42, the Telegraph Trail. There's some really going up to the top of the saddle on this one thing. But, yeah, there's a video on it. It's on Rocks and Roads. But, yeah, I'm tired.
Any rock rash?
No. In fact, I did a little bit of scouting, and that's one of the reasons why I did this. Is I did some scouting for future rock hounding expeditions, and it will become very, 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 very nice because there is some rock formations. Like there was this one. It's very tight. There's some really tight canyons and. There's this one area where probably 150 feet, and it's a solid slab of quartz.
Ooh, so is that
we're gonna
to harvest quartz, or that's where you can maybe?
Well, that's when we'd be looking for the gold and some of the amethyst and some of the other stuff. But there's a lot of really neat rocks out there. A couple of perch rocks, and what I mean by perch rocks, where you take your Jeep and you put it up on a perch. And then the historic part of it is the reason why I like this trail. It's a very easy trail. It's rated as a moderate trail. It's not a moderate trail. It's easy. They said, there's a waterfall to exit the trail. And the waterfall is like 4 feet. It's like, come on, please, give me a break. So anyhow, there's two old railroad trestles that are about probably 6 to 7 stories high. And you actually drive underneath the railroad trestles, and then you go out through the slot canyons, and then you go to a place called McKinney Dam. And it's an old dam that they used for the Tiger Mine, all rock work and stuff like that. And there's a pretty good slab that you have to crawl up to get to it. And then the highlight is actually a very, 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 very skinny shelf road that goes up from the basin of the San Pedro River Valley about halfway through the trail and goes up to what we call the saddle, and it goes up to about 3,000 feet. And it's a very thin, articulated climb up to the top, and it's pretty cool. It's neat. And my only complaint is that I hate, and I would imagine Joe's probably going to laugh at this, I hate manual disconnected sway bars.
Oh, brother. Yes.
Because, Joe has a switch. He presses a button and his sway bar disconnects. Because you want your sway bar to disconnect so you can get the flexi stuff, so you can articulate. Where with me, I have to pull a cotter pin and then push the quick disconnects off the sway bar and then stow them on these other things. But the problem is if you're not perfectly level when you disconnect, it doesn't work so well. So
I hear you.
That's it. But other than that, had a great time.
It sounds like in the background somebody's shaping some flint arrowheads or something.
No, Sharon is making Matt had a Russian salad that Irina showed us on the Zoom call, and it looks delicious. So we're doing that.
Gotcha. Well, we jumped ahead of ourselves. What are you smoking tonight?
I am smoking. Take a guess, and the first two don't count.
Is it quorum?
Yes, and which version?
You do shade, don't you?
I do both, but yeah, it's a shade.
Yeah, look at.
Oh,
Like an
well, you know what's funny? He said he hated shelf rows, and then he said no, he didn't.
No,
Or maybe he didn't have
he doesn't have the auto switch anymore. So
the auto disconnect.
yeah,
Yes.
he took that off.
But yeah, it worked out
Okay.
okay. I found a because a lot of guys what they do is they'll disconnect their sway bars before they go out on the trail and then bring it back to home. I'm not going to do that because I'm traveling at 70 miles an hour and I don't need this wobbly stuff. So I wait, and I found a nice place on the trail. And but this shelf road was probably the most intense shelf road I've been on in a while because it drops off on both sides. And it's got if there would have been somebody else coming down, they would have had to back up because there was no place to turn off.
What's the rule? Because like if you're in boats, there's a rule about who has to turn. What if you're on a single trail road?
Uphill has the right of way.
Really? Mm-hmm. Because it seems like it'd be easier to back down than to back up. No?
'Cause you have momentum. You have momentum. Yeah, see, Joe just said, I've accidentally driven 70 miles with no sway bar and it was fine. Look at his latest video. He basically climbed the side of a wall. Yeah. Joe is much more intense than I am. I'm mellow. So, yeah, that's all I've been doing. That's it.
Well, check this one. I just lit up a Buena Vista Edition Limitada, but look at the wrapper on this thing.
Oh, it's like a barber pole. It's like a barber pole.
Kinda, but it's a diamond pattern. So I think first thought is, well, that's really cool, and I'm wondering if it's gimmicky. But then my thought is, how much glue were they using to holding all that stuff together?
Well, the thing is that more than likely that's a shade, probably a Connecticut shade on the base, and then probably a Mexican San Andreas for the
Maybe
details.
it's got multiple layers. Anyway, it's pretty.
What are you drinking tonight?
I went crazy. I'm drinking Barrel. This is a rye that's finished in rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels.
Sounds too sweet.
It's not. I kind of forgotten. I'm not a bourbon person, but I forgot how much I like rye. It's a little spicy, peppery.
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I didn't say I wouldn't do rock waterfalls, Joe. I said, because remember, this is my tow behind for the motorhome, so I can't destroy it too much. I'm already planning on adding some stuff. And he's asking me to buy a Gladiator, which we're planning on. And it just so happens that Joe wants to sell me his Gladiator.
Well, that's convenient. Well, I remember the tow behinds for RV back in the day used to be Suzuki Samurais. So maybe you traded in for one of those.
Good luck. Good luck. Those things, I had one in 1980, whatever. They were $5,300 brand new. You can't touch them for under $10,000 now. They are one, and what's funny is everybody joked about them. Everybody said they're not capable, they're not worth a crap. Now the rock crawlers have said, "Oh, we like those," and so next to no.
All right, are you drinking RC Zero?
Yes, I am.
Man, you are a predictable fella.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so that's what we've been doing. Yesterday we did have a scare. I think I told you. Oh, you've been on vacation. Yeah. Well, apparently one of our dogs is a drug addict because he likes to go out. He likes to go out and lick Colorado River toads, and the other dog is into pills, into painkillers. So, what happened is we went out in the evening and she was able to procure a bottle of Caprofen, which is basically doggy ibuprofen. And she ate 2,000 milligrams of this stuff. And of course, we were worried that, because it's pretty serious stuff.
So what they say, just watch.
No, she vomited, thank God. She vomited, which was good. And she probably vomited most of the stuff up. But no, when you call oh no, 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 this dog could die. It's got renal failure. You need to come in. So we asked them how much it would cost and what they would do. And they said, well, we're going to give her activated charcoal, which we have. And we're going to probably give her some sub-Q intravenous fluids. And so in other words, and then monitor. And I said, how much is that going to cost? Well, it could be upwards of a couple $1,000s. And then send her home. I said, okay. Yeah. So we just watched her. We didn't sleep for the first night, and we just watched her, and she's completely fine. I mean, there probably is a little bit of kidney damage, maybe, but she's acting like normal. So we're just
they couldn't have done anything about that anyway.
Right. We talked to the vet, our vet, and the vet said, you're doing everything you can. You gave her activated charcoal to absorb stuff. She's been drinking and eating, and that's it. So yeah. That was our exciting part of the day. And then the frustrating part was I found out that, because it's been a long time since I've four-wheel driven, and we never had on the FJ40, on the Land Cruiser, we didn't have sway bar disconnects and sway bars and all that. It was just, so I wanted to test the disconnect since I was going to be in a flexi situation. And I found out that if you're not on a completely level surface when you try to disconnect your sway bars, good luck.
Yeah. You need to come along.
Yeah, I had Sharon hanging off one side of the Jeep, rocking it. So, yeah. So that was fun.
Well, that's why you need to take somebody with you. You need to counterbalance.
Well, I joined, Joe, I met Joe. We haven't had a chance to hook up in Phoenix yet, which is going to happen. But there's nobody. Well, there are a couple of groups down in Tucson, but they are, how can I put this? Tools.
I see.
I've uploaded the groups, and they go out and they claim to be rock crawlers, but yet they'll hit a waterfall. Joe will appreciate this. They'll hit a waterfall at 20 miles an hour and say, "Oh, that's a bump," and it's no, sorry, ain't gonna do it. So I joined this Dirt Road Coalition Arizona, all based mostly in Phoenix, but hopefully I'll get out a little bit more. So that's it, and then back to the shop tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I did this vacation right. Every time you go on vacation, you come home and then you go back to work the next day and say, you should really take a day off to relax after your vacation. I'm taking 2 days off after this vacation. And I feel a little bit guilty about it, not being to work and being back into town, but I'm like,
is one of your trips to get your A1C checked? based on the food awesome. That I saw posted. Wow.
Yeah. They feed you pretty well.
Now, which cruise line were you on?
Holland America.
Oh, you never do that.
This is our first time, just because they had the trip that we wanted, and
how do they compare? Probably not. They're probably not in the same league as Disney, are they?
Well, it's just a totally different feel, and we've always said, and you've heard us say, you can do Disney as an adult and stay away from the kids, but there was 8 kids on the whole ship, 8.
And Holland America doesn't have casinos either, do they?
Oh, they do. They do. Okay. Yeah, I lost a little money at roulette. Yeah.
Because I know some of them don't. I think Viking doesn't have casinos, and I don't think Celebrity does anymore. But I think Viking doesn't even allow kids, though.
I don't. I was really disappointed though, because I thought, Ship Casino. I thought that they all had those coin pusher machines. You put the quarters in and the little arm goes. And I'm a sucker for those, man. I would have lost gobs of money.
I have to address this real quick just to go back. No, Joe, I don't think you're crazy. In fact, on my video today, I actually extol the virtue of you as a wheeler, you and Greg. No, and I don't drive fast on the trail either. But that's why I haven't hooked up with anybody in Tucson, because they're all,
tools.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so how was did you have a suite, or were you just regular balcony type?
Well, it was regular balcony, but it was one of those at the very back of the ship, directly at the back, looking out the back.
How
so the
was that?
veranda
Because
was super long.
how was that? Because I've heard that some people love it, some people hate it because you get some vibration from the engines. But
You did get a little vibration. Well, and that was the one of the few bummers of this cruise is I thought this would be great because it's a nice big veranda, and I thought we'll be close to land and seeing the fall colors and stuff. Well, didn't really take into account the weather, and my dear spouse is not for bundling up and enjoying the outside,
oh,
and
so
so,
she went out. She did this. She said, "Oh, that's pretty." And went back in the cabin.
yeah.
That's what this one over here did when we got to the Hubbard Glacier in Alaska. She came
Uh,
out and said, "Yeah, it's a big block of ice. I'll see you inside."
yeah. But it was interesting because it's a much older population. Like if you took all the people that come through your shop, maybe, and threw them
Hmm.
onto a cruise line.
Right.
And oh, so I've got a question for you related to my observations of the older clientele on the ship and
Hmm.
haircuts.
Okay.
Why is it that older ladies are the one they tend to get first they don't tend to have long hair, they tend to have much shorter haircuts, but you get the ones that aren't just short but they're like shaved
Hmm.
in the back at an angle,
Yep.
and everything is coiffed in the front, and it's almost like they forget what the back's going to look like when you do that.
No, it's basically called a woman's fade undercut. It's very popular. It's a take on the pixie haircut, and it's easy to take care of, and that's what I think that I see in my shop because I do a few of those. But I have some women that just do, they'll do a taper, kind of like what we have, a taper, and then just keep the hair long and tossily because they don't want to
Yeah.
mess with it. And then, but actually, there's more women with long hair, but they're just very good at wrapping it up into a bun. But
Yeah, didn't see any buns, but I noticed a lot of those haircuts with the taper
mhm.
backwards taper up the, and I'm like, why is that so popular? It just seemed weird because you don't see young folks with that kind of a haircut.
No, but a lot of it has, because contrary to what popular people think, is that women have thinning hair too. And so a lot of times, if they're thinning on top or they've got literally a bald spot, what you
Uh,
do is you texture the top of the hair, and you cut it at different lengths so it adds more life to it. And then on the sides, you shorten it up, so that way I call it a modified Helen Reddy. You remember Helen Reddy?
no.
She was the first singer that kind of did what they call the little icicles in the front of the ear, and
Hmm,
then and then up over the top of the ear, and then feathers coming down. Yeah, those are
I
for the women that I do in the shop. That's what I do most of their haircuts. I've got a few women that have really long hair, but that's an easy haircut because I basically comb their hair straight and go snip snip. $20, please.
got it.
And that. And then the men's haircuts usually on the cruise ships, they're either going to be buzz cuts or they're going to be gentlemen's cuts. You're not going to see fades, taper fades.
No,
Although some older men are starting to try that, and it looks stupid.
I see.
So
Um,
enough about hair cutting and that. So talk about.
uh,
So how was the quality of the food? Let's start with that.
well, I would say that's about equal. Maybe the one disappointment is we went to one of the because you get the free food at the main dining room, which I think you know
The
all the
cattle call.
mainline, yeah, it's bulk food and all that stuff. We went to one of the upscale restaurants because it came with our package. That was a little disappointing. I got a fillet that was like kind of and yeah, and then they didn't have as much food around the pool deck. They had a burger place. Oh, they had great French fries. That's what stood out. Is they had the nice fries with the kind of crispy outer layer,
Hmm.
and then the nice like potato inside. Those were
Kind of
delicious.
kind of like a double fried.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But then they did have a buffet at 10:30 at night, so you had to stay up for that, which was nice.
Nothing like eating at 10:30 at night and then going to bed.
That's right. But they did do specialty stuff like you saw. They had one of the lunches. They had a cake buffet, so they had about 40 different kinds of cake you could go through and get. And then they had a seafood broil one night and stuff like that. Um,
So did you sit at the? Did you guys sit by yourselves, or did you guys do the group table thing?
No, it was just by ourselves, and that was one thing that was nice is that the service was pretty quick, and so we could be in and out of the main dining room in under an hour.
Oh, so you could ask to just for two, you because they
Yeah,
give you the option, right? You
yeah.
know, do you want to sit with everybody else so Leroy can tell you about his hip surgery and his gout that he's gotten?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
Yeah,
neat.
but so another thing I've noticed that stood out to me on this cruise, and again, I don't know if it's older people or what, is so this one they have a starting point for the buffet, and you kind of just go in line, and so most of it was not self service, right? Probably
Okay.
since
So they served
COVID,
you. Okay.
right? So you say, I want this, I want that, and I know. So you're walking along, and you get your food and get your food. When you're done, a lot of people tended to turn back the way that they came to leave. And I was like, what? I'm right here, right? Everybody's in line. They're turning the way they came and kind of surprised to see somebody standing right there.
Dave, you're in the
Yeah.
medical field, correct?
Oh, is that early onset? Is that what's going
They
on?
may have forgotten where they were because think about it. If I get in line and I'm having some cognitive issues, I'm going to go straight because Bertha told me, John, make sure you walk straight, and then when you're done, turn around and walk back the same way you came.
That well, apparently that happened. I don't know how many times. I kept like, well, what? Where do you think you're going? There's a line of 40 people behind you. Keep keep
Well,
going there, Mildred.
you know why this happens now? Because buffet one of the greatest buffet lines that kept everything perfect was Fur's Cafeteria. I don't know if you ever remember Fur's.
We
Fur's
I,
was basically, and literally, they had monitors. So if you're going down the line asking for stuff, and if somebody turns around, you have a monitor there that would come up, grab your shoulders, and say, "No, this is the way you need to go."
are you serious?
Dead serious. But
They
hence,
needed
that's
that.
that's the reason why there's no more Fur's Cafeterias, probably.
Oh, they were like, that's a little too regimented. Well,
So,
that and the line starts here. They had signs. The line starts here, and people would always line up the other way.
of course. Well, so you're saying to me then that the demographic on the Holland America was much different than the demographic
Oh
on
my
a
God.
Disney cruise.
Yes.
Oh,
A little. You know what's weird though is the though they're more elderly, I saw almost none of the little electric scooters. But on Disney, they were all over the place. And I think I figured it out because this was almost all either all couples or large groups of women actually. And so they're probably more active. On the Disney cruise, you have many generations of family. It's a family get together and bring along grandpa and grandma with their
right.
scooters because they can't get around much. Here, probably if they can't get around much, they're not coming on the cruise in the first place. So they seem
Well, and
more active than.
yeah, I hear that a lot on from my clients. You'll see more large groups. Like we have each neighborhood inside Saddlebrook Ranch is what they call a unit, and so you'll have a unit 16 cruise. So there'll be 40 people that are neighbors that'll go on the cruise together. And then as far as the women, a lot of these are either divorced or they're widowed,
Yep.
and they can go on a cruise and travel and be safe,
Yep.
and they control if that's what they're trying to do. The old Gavin McLeod and the Love Boat thing. They're looking for their Isaac. But
Oh.
but yeah, I think and celebrity's the same way. It's a little bit lower age demographic, but not much. And I think that the reason why, and you'll see that on Viking too. Viking is a much older crowd, simply because there's no kids, no casinos, and people just want to be able to chill. Where Disney, obviously you got the younger crowd because you got kids. Now, the reason why you probably saw more scooters on the Disney cruise is because grandma and grandpa ain't stupid. They know that mom and dad are bringing the kids, and if they bring the scooters, they can
You
have
can't watch it.
payback. They can get payback and say, all the years I took care of you, now guess what? You're going to take care of me completely on this cruise. So
You know,
okay, so we've done the food. So
One other weird thing I
uh
noticed with coffee in Canada, and this is weird, and I don't know why, but the lids for their coffee, the holes that you sip through are tiny. You know, Starbucks has like a slit at the top, like a big oval.
hmm
In Canada, they were little circles. And I'll tell you, the problem with that is when your coffee is hot, the little circle creates a lot more velocity with that coffee, and it hits you right on the top of the palate. And twice that happened before I learned to, okay, you can't drink this with this lid on for the first 10 minutes. And why in the world they designed it that way, I don't know. But it was many places in Canada it was like that.
Really? That's
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So P Beat is telling us he's drinking Cutty Sark Scotch in honor sailing and LBJ.
I'm a little surprised PB has that in the first place. Isn't that like $12? Cuddy Cirque. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
in the
I've
bottom
never,
shelf.
I've never.
You
drank
haven't?
it. No, never.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've got the food now. Did they have like? So they had a 10:30 buffet. Did they have like snacky stuff that you could go and get anytime you wanted?
No, well, I mean, whatever. They had the buffet was open most of the day with an hour or two gap in between the
Right.
meals and stuff like that. So the other cruises we've been on have had more food around the pool deck for being able to do that. The burgers and the pizza and the chicken nuggets and all that kind of stuff. So, but as you saw, there wasn't a lack of
Yeah, I was gonna say there was
being
no
able.
lack of food. Yeah. So now, how about the room and the amenity? You said you're on the back of the ship, so you had a little bit of a larger veranda.
Yeah.
But was the quality up to par with? Not at all.
Well, no, and I'll tell you. So this was like I said, it's the only time we've been on Holland, and it's one of their older ships, and it was actually going into dry dock right after our cruise. But the room, it had no outlets next to the bed. It only had two outlets on the desk. And so, for a generation now where you're plugging in everything to charge and all that stuff, that really stands out.
Was it an older ship?
Yeah, it's one of
Okay,
their.
well that's probably hadn't been retrofitted yet. But
Yeah.
PB brings a good. The Cutty Sark was a gift, and this is interesting. This might be an answer. We Americans have bigger mouths and gulp compared to Canadians. Yeah, I
Okay,
can
that's
see that. I can
that's
see
fair.
that.
I mean, I guess if you burn the top of your mouth every damn time you get a coffee, you learn to barely tip it. I just hadn't gotten the Canadian
Hey,
technique down.
just want to say hi to Tig Lily. I just saw her 5 seconds ago, right here. Anyways, um, she's been busy. She's
Yeah.
been busy. But I did one thing I did do when I was out on the trail. I did bring her a big. It was right in the middle of the wash as I was exiting, and it kind of looked quartzy and purpley. It might have some amethyst in it, so it's a big rock. So I did pick her up 2 rocks. But I
Well,
guarantee
you're
you, we're going to be
golden.
going back there and spending hours.
Yeah, you're golden. I'll tell you the one thing I was impressed with though that I've always on the comment card for Disney, I've always said your live musicians, you don't have them playing like during the day very often on sea days and stuff. Holland does music all over the ship all the time. So for me, that was golden. That was like the
Well,
best
because
entertainment.
you and I would assume it was near some of the lounges and stuff, so you could sit down, have a drink, and
Yeah,
now
it was.
was there any cigar smoking anywhere on there?
No. That was another dumb design thing is that there's smoking area was at the back of the ship right by the doors to go into the buffet. So if you walk out to the outdoor pool area, you're walking right through the smoking area, which there was maybe one or two people that would be back there.
Well, you couldn't
Almost
smoke a
smoking, but
cigar at all, though.
I didn't take any. I didn't.
Right.
No, I mean I guess you could have, but then um,
So, well, that sounds. Now, let's talk about the trip. Did Holland have Tim Hortons in Canada?
no, no. And that's the one thing I wanted. I wanted to hit Tim Hortons, but we were so busy and had plenty of other stuff to do. Didn't try up Tim Hortons.
So, I did notice that you posted that picture of the Barber Museum. That seemed like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? And especially when we hit Boston, they had some really cool barber shops, really
Oh yeah.
all old schooly looking, and yeah.
Yeah. Now, was that one that you posted? Was that stuff for sale or just a
hmm
museum? Oh, it was for sale.
No,
Oh wow.
it was a barber shop that had a
Okay.
had a case at the front of it that
Well, that's cool.
I mean, so that was interesting. Yeah,
But it sounds like you enjoyed Boston too when you got in.
dude, Boston is gorgeous. I've never been there before, and
Well,
I
and
was
plus you got to see where your sister got her
yeah, Harvard,
education. Harvard.
Harvard. She's a Harvard lady. But just all the brownstones there and the churches and just all the brick built. I mean, oh, that place
Well,
is
it's an old
beautiful.
city.
It's an old city.
Did you guys go to the harbor where they dumped the tea and all that?
We were there, and you can pay to go through a museum or whatever, and you can see they've got these wrapped up barrels of tea with a rope on them, so you can go on the ship and throw it over, and then they haul it back up. And, yeah, we
Now
didn't do that.
you're not a beer person, so you didn't go to Sam Adams, obviously.
No, yeah, they had a couple breweries that you could go through and all that. Holy cow! So as you saw from my post on the first day, Disney doesn't have drink packages,
Really? Oh,
and
it's
they
all
have
included, right?
no. You could get a wine package, but no, if you want cocktails and stuff, they're all you got
A
to
la
buy them
carte?
all. Yep,
Really? That's
yeah.
interesting.
Um, and so when we did Royal Caribbean or some other one, I got in a drink package, but I wasn't into the brown liquors and all that stuff at that time. And so I was trying all these other cocktails, and everything was just sugar sweet, right? It's all tastes the same at that
Oh
point.
yeah, like you didn't have
So,
any of those on this trip.
well, but so this time, our package came with the top drink package, which what did I say? It limits you to 15 drinks a day. Uh,
Jeez. God.
but now that
Wow.
I'm into more sophisticated things, that was fun. Is experimenting and having your taking your martini into the jazz club and all
Well, the
this.
martini that you showed that had the cucumber in it,
Mm,
that looked really good.
yeah, but turned out to be my favorite. Ended up being the penicillin because they would float Lafroig on top of.
No, so explain this drink again.
Let me look it up because I don't. It's a
They call it penicillin.
yeah, and it's actually a cocktail. Penicillin. Whoop, hold on. Cocktail recipe. So it's 2 ounces of blended scotch, lemon juice, honey ginger syrup, and then you float peated scotch on top, and
Ooh.
it's delicious.
What
So
was the blended scotch? Was it monkey shoulder?
no um, white. What's that? White label?
Oh,
I think it's called White Label, isn't it?
well, I don't know.
Dewar's White Label.
Oh, Dewar's what? Really? They considered that a top shelf scotch?
No,
Oh,
no, that's the blended scotch they use, and then they float the Lafroig on
so
top.
here's what you need to do. You
Yeah.
need to recreate this at home, but use monkey shoulder as the blended
Oh
scotch.
my gosh. Yes.
And then you could put the cardias on the top of it, which would go with the ginger and everything else. So what was the syrup made of? Ginger and what?
Honey. Honey
Oof,
lemon. Yeah.
that sounds good. That may
Yeah.
be something. That may be something. If we go back to Vegas, we need to maybe see if they can make that at the. Although that drink we had there was really good.
Yeah. That was just so anyway, that was that first day where I was kind of drinking around the ship, trying all sorts of different stuff. That was kind of the most I ever had in a day, but that's super enjoyable when you can get off. It doesn't cost you any more money and just go up to a bar and
See, I'm really surprised. I figured with the cost factors of Disney that the drinks would be inclusive, kind of like
no.
kind of like Seabourn or
Yeah.
Regent or any of those.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of appreciate it because I think with the younger crowd, if you had people that could drink cocktails for
It'd be
free all
a
the
yeah,
time,
it'd become a Royal Caribbean.
yeah, yeah. So I'm fine with them. Not, but boy, now that I can experience that, it's going to be a little weird going on a dry cruise again. So I'm not about to pay cocktail prices.
Well, what you need to do then is probably consider a Seabourn or a Regent
Yeah.
cruise because that's all inclusive, everything, tips,
Yeah.
airfare, the whole smash. What? How were? Did you? The only thing about some of these larger cruise lines like Holland America and Celebrity, and did you have photographers constantly hounding you guys?
Not hounding. They would set up their
Mm-hmm.
backdrops, and when you walk by, they ask, and you just say no. When you get off the ship, they'll have
Right.
something set up for wherever you go. But we had a photo taken, I guess, once when we were at the fancy restaurant, and every other time, and we didn't even buy it.
But that library, that was that in Boston or was that
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. That was really neat.
Yeah,
Like Rich said, it looked like you're in Hogwarts.
Hogwarts. And that's the thing, is just popping into these buildings that it almost seems like you shouldn't go into, or like churches that usually have their doors open and all that stuff. Just and that you start realizing that back in the day, they made these buildings just for just I mean, I can't even think of the word, but just to have the sense of, I don't know, volume and space. And because obviously, you go up high enough and the turrets and all that stuff are just empty, right? And just meant for beauty almost. And
Well,
you're
and what's
amazed.
amazing, what's amazing is those buildings were built in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century, and they look better than the stuff that was built 20 years ago.
They're good. And the brick buildings that are huge, that's amazing that they've got just made out of regular sized bricks, and they look just perfectly straight and no wobbles. And I mean,
I got to answer
amazing.
Tig Lily's question real quick. Does all inclusive include massage spa treatment on Seabourn and on Regent? Yes, it does.
Oh
There's
man.
not, you pay for nothing because when we did, it was either a Royal Caribbean or a Celebrity. We decided to do the mud spa treatment, and basically what they did is they you go into a room, just you and your wife, and basically you have a mud fight. That's basically what you do. You're
That's probably not
slamming
the
mud.
intent.
I mean, it was pretty. No, it was pretty cool. Then it was pretty fun. But
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I was talking with my wife about this, and now we're a little torn, and I could almost see bouncing back and forth between the two cruise lines because we kind of missed the theming that's all over Disney, and the hearing, like the instrumental Disney stuff in the elevator and the hallways. We missed
right.
all
Well,
of
then
that.
I would probably suggest not to do Seabourn or Regent because everybody I know that's done a Regent cruise will never go
They're
back.
stuck.
Yeah, and I mean it's a little bit more expensive, but they always do 2 for 1s and stuff like that. But yeah, we want to take another cruise. Actually, we want to do American Cruise Lines. We want to do the Columbia River. We want to do a rare.
Well, with the smaller ships too, they can go places that the bigger ones
Right.
can't.
Right, right.
Um,
So
so
what was the highlight? Because I know that Pantea had mentioned something on Facebook about thanking you for getting her to a certain location. Where
Prince
was that?
Edward Island,
Okay,
because
what's the connection there?
that's where Anne of Green Gables, the books in the movie, that's where those are set, and that's where the woman lived who wrote Anne of Green Gables, um, because it's pretty much about her as a child or something. So
Oh,
that was the
and
first,
she was really into the books and stuff. Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
cool.
that was the first stop, is going there and seeing the house that she lived in
Oh,
and
that's cool.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Real quick from P Beat, isn't
Mhm.
Rocks and Roads a mud spa? No, actually, I'm in Arizona, and I missed my opportunity. Real quick, when I did the trail run today, you could tell that because we had some torrential rains here about a week and a half ago, and you can tell that there was a lot of water, but it had all dried up by the time I got there. So
Well,
no,
let
we don't
me
get a lot of mud.
is that a status thing? Because I remember in college when everybody had mountain bikes at that time, and if you went on a muddy trail, the thing was is you didn't wash your bike off because you look cool with all this dried mud all over your bike. Same thing with
Yeah,
Jeeps; you just leave it
yeah,
plastered on there.
yeah, kind of. And then you spend 3 weeks cleaning it. But a recent video that Joe just did, they found a lot of water, lots of water.
Mm.
And water is good or bad because if you're doing rock crawling and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you're doing rock crawling, you go through water. Well, water on rubber does what? Makes it slippery. So it's a little bit harder to climb out of stuff. But yeah, so all right, so we covered food, we covered the amenities, we covered the entertainment, which you liked, covered the booze, and I would imagine it was probably pretty mellow.
Everything was much more relaxed. Like even getting on the ship, there was no waiting. We just showed up. There was no line. With Disney, everything is timed, and there's big groups of people waiting to do stuff and all that. And and the dining with Disney, it's basically you need to show up when dinner starts because there's a show that goes along with it. And if you're late, you screw up the timing of the different courses and all that stuff. This one, people were showing up like half an hour after their time and like no big problem. And
Well, I know that
yeah,
there's another cruise line. Maybe I don't know if it's Holland America or if it's Norwegian, but they have what they call freestyle cruising,
yeah.
and basically
Well,
you go eat when you want to eat.
you
You
can
know,
do
there's a
either. We had a set time just because I had read sometimes you show up if you don't have an assigned time, you can wait half an hour. But you could do either one. You could pick a table and a time, or just say, "I'm going to show up when I show." No, wait, what? Now, see, I thought Jeeps were meant to. They can just be basically doused in water,
well, yeah,
and they're
but
fine.
you got to take the carpet out.
Well, who
You
has
know,
carpet in a Jeep?
lots of people have carpet in a Jeep.
Oh,
Well,
come
I don't
on.
anymore, but I've got rubber mats.
Right.
Um,
And
but
don't they
no,
have a drain plug so you can hose out the inside and just drains out?
I don't know about that. At least I don't. I know. I've never looked.
Here's
I've
the
never looked because
oh
I've never been in deep water. But this was some seriously deep water and mud and everything else. In fact, but where they were at, the canyons they were at, you could see where water could flow in there. The bad part about rain and mud on going on trails is the trail completely changes. If you've got water rushing through something,
yeah,
and you were at the trail before the water happened, you could be totally in a different realm, so to
yeah.
speak.
That's the other thing that looks really cool is the people with the snorkels on their Jeeps. Like, but I imagine it's just like the people with the big, huge 4x4s and big tow hitches that never tow anything. Probably most of
Well,
the people aren't in deep enough water that
well,
actually
I
need
think
to.
it's funny. I think it's funny to see snorkels here in Arizona.
Yeah.
You know,
See, it's just, yeah. They're just running to the store with a snorkel and the gas cans on the back. And yeah. Yeah. See? See, I know some stuff. You got Dream Club. Yeah. So who I hope Joe doesn't have carpet. That seems a little bit.
he does have carpet. It says
Come
right up
on,
there.
Joe. Yeah. I mean, even if you're going to be getting dirt, right? You're going to be getting dust and all that stuff and
He's trying to maintain a certain level of
civility.
civility, right?
Sorry. That's it.
But he did something recently that bugs me. He got what they call flush mounted taillights
Mm-hmm.
because one of my joys in life was to guess when he was going to tear off another
Bust off
taillight.
his.
And
Yeah.
now it's depressing. But I'm thinking about doing the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, so one thing that was very interesting and almost a little bit anticlimactic or depressing or whatever. So we were at that 10:30 buffet, and we heard this overhead ship announcement, which is kind of weird that late at night. And I didn't quite understand it, but you heard a murmur, everybody around saying, "Oh, the Northern Lights, the Northern Lights!" Everybody's
Oh, I
running
saw
out.
that. That was cool.
But you know what? You look at the horizon, you don't see anything,
But
and
your
you're
camera does.
staring and you're looking and it's almost like your mind's playing trick and you're deciding that you see stuff. And then heard a guy talking about you need to change the exposure on your phone. And then I remembered hearing about this, that a lot of times you can't see it but your phone will pick up on it. So yeah, I got some beautiful pictures that with the naked eye there's almost nothing there.
Right.
It's just changing the exposure and all this stuff shows up. And so now whenever I see all these beautiful, amazing photos, I'm like, did you really even see anything?
Well, what you need to do is you need to experiment with that now that the comet is close enough. You can't see it with the naked eye, but if you take a long exposure with your camera, boom, there it is. And
Yeah.
especially if you can find some dark skies.
Yeah.
But
But anyway,
so,
that was
well, the
cool.
thing
I
is,
mean,
it's better that you heard an announcement that said the Northern Lights rather than hearing an announcement that says iceberg.
so get this. Talking about the age of the passengers, the first 3 days we had a medical issue each day. So the first day, they told us that they were going to stop the ship so they could put one of their boats down with a passenger on it to take them to shore where an ambulance is waiting for them. I thought, okay, that stuff happens. The second day, we hear the overhead page for the medical team to go to somewhere on the ship. And then the third day, we were watching the rock band, and all of a sudden, all the music just stops like that. Right? They're playing, but they shut off everything, and you hear an announcement asking people with blood type such and such, if you're willing, go to the library if you've got your donation card and you're willing to donate for a critically ill patient. I was just like, holy! But we did talk to people that cruised on there a bunch. Like, is this normal with this age of? And they said no. Sometimes they have one, usually none.
But
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 we're
you would
like,
think that most of these cruise lines have a fairly decent size infirmary, and that they would unless this was a rare blood type. Did they say?
well, they wanted O negative and positive,
Oh,
but you
okay.
can't. I don't think they carry blood on board because it's only good for so long. And but anyway, yeah, we were like, wow, they're dropping like flies on
Whoa!
us.
Wait a minute! I got to figure out what's going on here.
Would Mrs. Dave share
Would
the?
Mrs. Dave share a piece of wood? Oh no! Or would that be how Dave goes down? What? 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 What?
Which wood?
I think it's probably the petrified
It's
wood.
petrified wood. I'm sure they're. Yeah, I don't know. He's drinking something. Rock. No. So they like I meant. So they had one venue that was a jazz band every night.
Okay.
And then they had one venue that was actually a classical violinist and a piano player every day. And then they had the Rolling Stone Lounge that had a rock band that played every night. And then they had other stuff. The one thing that they did really well was trying to incorporate where we were with what was happening on the ship. So we were in the Northeast with all the maple and all that stuff. So a lot of their cocktails, they had maple
Yeah, I saw
flavored stuff. And then they had a drummer that was kind of Native America drumming stuff and all that stuff. So anyway, that was. Oh, you made it.
that. See, Joe's way ahead of us. Way ahead of us. He's thinking. He's a thinking man.
Oh, he's the door. It's a door. Would Jack have fit on the door? Would she let me be on the
Now,
Yeah, I mean,
speaking of fall colors, how were they?
they were pretty good in spots. You see the photos, and again, we were hoping for the hills full of oranges and yellows. We saw spots of it because I guess they had just finally had their first frost right before we got there. But speaking of the Titanic, up in Canada is where they brought all the bodies and stuff that they pulled out. And so we went to the Maritime Museum, and lucky for me, my wife said it's way more interesting than she thought it would be because they had a huge Titanic exhibit.
Oh,
And
wow.
apparently a lot of the wood and stuff from the ship, the locals got it and held on to it knowing it was kind of important, but they made stuff out of it like cribbage boards and cutting boards and rolling pins and all this stuff.
Really?
So the museum's trying to collect all this stuff from families.
That's kind of creepy. That's like
bit.
that's like making a Ouija board out of a haunted house. I mean,
Yeah.
Now, did you guys do some excursions, or did you kind of just do your own thing?
We did. So going to Prince Edward Island, that was an excursion where we had to go. And then the next two stops, we just walked around because the towns are pretty small. And then when we got to Maine, we took a bus to Kennebunkport.
It's
And
too bad you couldn't
yeah,
have hooked up with John. He couldn't have showed up and said hi.
yeah, up
Tabor.
there in Maine. Yeah.
So, did you guys get out into the big ocean, or were you pretty much hugging the coast?
It was pretty much all along the coast. Yeah, we were worried about that because of all the storms that had been there and stuff. But we only put the patches on for one night when we were getting closer to Boston. But we lucked out with the weather. We didn't have
Really?
any rain until the last day that we were in Boston.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
you watch videos about the Northeast cruises, and they say bring your umbrellas, and you might have to like stay inside the first half of the day and wait for it to no, not Portsmouth, no sir.
So, how many days
So
was the cruise?
it's 7 is a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, did
So
you
we
guys?
did.
Was it Boston to Boston, or was it?
No, it's Quebec City in
Oh, okay.
Canada. So we went 2 days ahead of time. So we had a full day in Quebec. That's a super cool town too. And then we got to Boston, and then I had another full day in Boston, and then left late the next day so we
Oh,
could
okay.
go all over the
So,
place. So,
with your allergies, though, you can't eat lobster, can you?
no, sir.
Oh, oh, that's
I know.
because probably everybody else is like, "Oh, Dave, you should try this lobster. It's so good."
Well, when we went to Prince Edward Island, that was part of the excursion. Is we went to this big place and had a lobster lunch, and so I just had to have potato pie, which was basically layers of potato. It tasted like a hash brown, and everybody around me had this big, huge red lobster with a bucket in the
Oh
middle,
God.
and oh, it looked so good. And then yeah, in Boston, the big lobster rolls and all that stuff. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh well. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that
We
that
we walked
that
through there.
hurts.
That was gorgeous. Yeah, I'll tell you, a lot of these, I mean, that was the coolest part is normally we're going, Caribbean, Europe, all this stuff, and to hit places in our own country that we'd never been to before.
That's kind of
That was
cool.
that was cool, yeah.
That's kind of
So
neat. But
yeah.
it's also always good to get home too.
Eh, that I think this might have been one of the first no, there's been a few other trips where I'm like, well, I could live like this for a while. Yeah, that
Well,
first time you got to make your own meal, that's rough.
a lot of people instead of going in, especially the older folks, instead of going, instead of going into nursing homes or assisted living, they are just cruising.
So as long as you're pretty healthy,
Yeah.
they can't do chronic diseases. But I saw some of the cruises that they do with the smaller ships, and they're like 30, 45 days long. Like, wow.
Well, that's like there's one. I don't know if you've ever done it, but it starts in San Diego, goes San Diego to Hawaii, does all the Hawaiian islands, and then it goes down to Tahiti. It's like 31 days or some crap like that.
Yeah. They had one that goes all the way around Australia.
Jeez.
That would be something else. The
Well, the only
longest.
thing, the Drake Passage, though, I don't want to get anywhere near that. I've seen video, and even these big, huge ships are like tossed around like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's supposed to be either it's like that or it's super smooth and you just don't know. Because you have to go through that if you want to do Antarctica, which would be
Right.
amazing to see, but I don't think I want to roll the dice with
There's a new cruise
Wyoming
of Wyoming.
on a land yacht. On a land yacht.
Well, we kind of did that when we took the motorhome. We
Yeah.
did a cruise
So
of.
we're gonna do later next year. We're doing Panama Canal. That'll be the longest cruise we've ever done. That'll be like 17 days, I think it is. Yeah. But anyway,
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
it's
So coming up, you bought meat sticks, right? Did you already buy them?
no, I haven't bought them yet.
Oh,
I'm still in the investigative phase. But if we're gonna do the meat sticks, because I want them to be fresh, well, as fresh as they need to be.
aren't they like Twinkies? like good
Yeah,
for
kind
3
of like 3.
years.
So, do you want to do that next week? Do you want to do meat sticks? And Joe, not a comment. I know he's like thinking. Yeah, we can do meat sticks, but we got to have Slim Jims in there, even though they're disgusting. But you got to have a Slim Jim.
You know, if that's something you want to do, I'll go along with. I'm not a meat stick person. Most
Well,
partially that because of the price. That and jerky, man, that stuff is expensive.
but
So yeah,
that's our shtick. We need to do food stuff.
food,
We could
foods,
do we could do, if you want, we could do meat sticks the following week. But yeah, we could do Pringles.
yeah.
So yeah, so if you want to do, so I'll leave it up to you. You tell me whether you want to do Pringles or meat sticks.
Well, we just did chips, so we ought to do something else. I think we can do the meat sticks, and then maybe we work in another one of our advice shows. Just split up the food thing. And
I
then
really
can
think we
get-
should do peppers, but you will never do that.
I did hot sauce,
No, I'm talking
but you're
raw peppers.
yeah no.
Well, let's do meat sticks next week. Then we can do Pringles, or we can do an advice show after that, and then Pringles. And then we have to do. No, here's the one we have to do for the. I would do the oysters. I would love to do that, but Dave can't do it.
Mail ordered oysters.
Yeah. We need to do fruitcake.
So that's along with meat sticks, not inexpensive.
No.
For
But
as,
the cool thing about it, just ask one of your relatives. I'm sure they have one that they've had for a couple of 100 years.
plus, you'd take a slice, and then what are you going to do with the rest of the 95% of every
Wrap
fruits?
it up really, really nice into pieces, put cellophane around it, and give it as a gift.
Tested, pre-tested.
Ah, there's a good one. Different ramen flavors. I love ramen. I love ramen. We could do ramen,
Uh,
and that's cheap. That's cheap. We could do
That
8
is
ramens
cheap.
for under $1.
Boy, like I said, the logistics of that. I have to have a table, right, with like 8 bowls, and you'd have to.
You know, or just get. Well, actually, we could do it
do
the
that.
cheap way and do the cup of noodles. They're already in their own styrofoam
Cups of
cup.
noodles.
Seriously, yeah. So I'll do some research. So which one do you want to do next week?
Well, we can do meat sticks.
Okay, all right.
It's all right. We'll do meat sticks. All right,
Pickle
look, we're
taste.
workshopping with the barflies.
That's right. And we're getting some ideas. But the thing, I'm sorry, Joe, we have to have Slim Jims. I know they're terrible, but if you're going to do a meat stick, you have to at least have one Slim
You
Jim.
know,
Candy corn.
don't they all taste the same? Every candy, it just tastes like sugar, right? Does any
No, that's not true because the pumpkins taste different. The candy corn pumpkins taste different because they're more mealy.
from Brock's?
Yes,
Or
and
is
then
it
you've
branches
got
or
right. Then you've got the white, yellow, and orange candy corn. Then, if you're going to go really upscale, you get the orange, the yellow, and the brown, which is supposed to be chocolate.
the fall colors? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, PB. I mean, just like everything else. Like I said, I wouldn't mind doing fruitcake because it could be like when we did the rum tasting, that we hit some heinous ass rums, but then we hit some that were just delicious. And so,
Well,
it'd be
we
interesting
need to
know
have a benefactor.
a fruitcake benefactor.
Yeah, we need to have,
Yeah.
or whatever we're doing, we need to have a benefactor. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that my hat being black kind of is like a
It's
transparent
blending
hat.
in.
Yeah, it's a transparent hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Dubai chocolate bar is absolutely amazing with the pistachio cream and it's so good.
Oh,
And
see,
you can get
I
those at
haven't-
Safeway. You can get them at Safeway.
Yeah. I haven't done the Dubai chocolate because it's just all over the place, and all I understand is they put pistachios in.
But
Does
pistachio
that
is
make
good
it
stuff.
Dubai?
I don't know. I just grabbed 2 the other day. As a matter of fact, I saw them as I was checking out. But they're very good. So okay, so coming up, just a reminder, folks, we are at 5 p.m. Pacific, which I don't know
Meat.
what I don't know what it's coming up because here in Arizona we don't change our
Stop
time,
it.
so it
Just
bothers
you.
me all the time.
Just you.
It does. It bothers me.
Yes.
It'll be 5 o'clock. That's all I'm gonna say. It'll be 5 o'clock from now on. So yeah, meat sticks. Then we have
It'll be
Pringles, advice.
the
and
best of the supermarket prepackaged meat stick.
okay.
Off.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's going to be. So I'll do some research, and I'll send you a list because we're only going to need what 8. You want to do 8 or 10?
You tell me. It'd be nice if they're all ones that come individually packaged. You don't have to get a pack of 10 to try
Right.
one.
Well, but they're more expensive that way though. Oh,
I
you know
can
one. Here's one we could do: rotisserie chickens.
What the?
Well, think about it. If you get because you don't need to do the whole chicken, but everybody says that the Costco rotisserie chickens are the best in the world. So if you do Costco fries, now it'd be kind of funny when you're walking out with like 18 rotisserie chickens, but
Rich has a point. Randy Savage approves of Slim Jims.
that's true. But
Yeah.
isn't Randy Savage dead?
Oh,
I think he's dead.
sodium. Too much sodium.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of shows lined out, but you, the Barflies, need to send us an email. And if you have any other ideas, because food seems to be the thing, or drinks, or
Yeah, we got some of us just the planning. We got to get off our behind because, like I said, I got all these Lafroigs that I need to. If I send you samples, we can do a blind Lafroig tasting because we
That's
haven't done
true.
alcohol for a long, long time.
no, we haven't. We haven't. In fact, have we ever done Scotch? I don't think we have we?
No,
No, we haven't done bourbon either, but for obvious reasons.
we're not Neanderthals.
Well, see, you're talking about meat sticks being expensive. Can you imagine doing cigars?
Oh my gosh,
That could get stupid in a hurry.
it would be. But you would. That's the thing is, you would have all these tasting notes and stuff, and I'd be like, "Yep, like that one. Don't like that one. This one's strong."
It's just palate. It's just palate. So, tequila tasting would be fun until we forget what we're talking about.
So again, PB. So we did have I mean, not to beg, but if it's not, so I've got the Lafroigs here already pre-purchased, so we can do that. But to do these alcohols that we don't have a vast variety of for rums, we had somebody send us all the samples that we use. Otherwise, we're relegated to the stuff that comes in the little airplane bottles at Total Wine, and those tend not to be the best. Although we could do cheap tequila tasting like we did vodka.
Yeah.
What's the best cheap tequila?
No, because I have a story about cheap tequila, and it was called Pancho Villa tequila. It was like $6.99 a gallon. I'm serious, a gallon. And we decided to do poppers, with the 7-Up, where you take a shot and you put 7-Up and you slam it and it goes down really easy.
I just
Yeah. Yeah, BB just wants to see us drink.
Well,
So I
he's
got to
seen
ask.
it.
I got to ask. I must have missed something. So what was Joe? What were you talking about? These are the best money can buy. Are you talking about us? Because we're certainly not the best you can
Maybe-
buy.
Maybe he's talking about the prepackaged grocery store meat sticks.
He got guacamole faced. Okay, I'm confused. There's a conversation going on behind the scenes that we don't know.
No,
about.
she's talking about your tequila adventure, I think.
Oh, I can't believe she's okay. So here's the story. So when her and I worked together for the fire department, we were going to have a Super Bowl party with all the squad guys. And I had been to Puerto Rico recently, and my mom's boyfriend at the time had given us these huge avocados. And I made guacamole, and everybody came over. Now some people may get mad at me for this, but I add cottage cheese to my guacamole. It's a life-changing experience. Tig Lily does not agree with me, but I like it. Anyways, so we were doing the tequila poppers and beer and whiskey and everything else, and I fell asleep in a bowl of guacamole. That's what she was talking about with guacamole face.
I fell asleep in guac. Well, that's good for the skin, though.
Yes, yes.
You must have
I
been
mean,
very
can you
soft.
believe that this moneymaker is going to be 61 years of age?
It's all guacamole, baby.
It's all guacamole.
Yeah.
Well,
So
if you want, yeah, just send it to us via email or you can text it to me, and we'll go out and
would
we'll
that
take
be
out
the ringer? We'll
Ron's.
have all of these grocery store ones, and then order something from whatever he sends you, and then
I love this. Country Fresh Farms in Wisconsin. I lived on these meat sticks and energy drink for like 3 years.
okay.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, no, we could do a cheese tasting. There's a good one. There's a good one. But again, it's not going to be inexpensive. But we do it for our fans. We do it for our fans, right? So.
Okay, buddy.
All right. Well, again, everybody, don't forget 5 p.m. next week, and we're not sure what we're going to do yet. Probably meat sticks will probably be the thing. So, as always, we really, really appreciate you get constipated. Boy, this is going to be a fun show. Anyhow, we thank you guys for always being a part of Drinks and Daves, and we will see you again next week. Say goodnight, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
See you guys.